with the Epstein files being exposed and revealing the degeneracy of the elites and our government, I decided that it's on trend and on brand for me to recommend 5 films that are very Epstein-esque, that expose the elites. In fact, elites might not like the idea of you watching it, because it puts into your mind the true nature of what these people really are. Now, the films I'm about to recommend to you, if you watch all of this, you will have a very well-rounded expertise on the kinds of evil that we're dealing with here, okay? High-level conspiracy, government-level conspiracy stuff, okay? Sex trafficking, elite ritual degeneracy, and some cult stuff, alright? Cults are involved. We're gonna get right into it with honorable mentions. Here we go. Eyes Wide Shut. Now listen, Eyes Wide Shut is number 1. On a technical level, this is number 1. You should watch this. I've already made a video on it. So I wanted to have some fresh meat in regards to the 5 movies I'm going to recommend. So Eyes Wide Shut you need to watch. That's like the first thing you watch. Stanley Kubrick gave his life to make that damn movie. If you are interested in seeing what a ritual mansion party is by the elites, just watch this. Watch this film, okay? Skulls with Paul Walker. I believe that this was low-key inspired by real things happening at Harvard. I could be wrong about that. But in Skulls, this Ivy League university has a secret society in which they are trying to groom and breed elites to become people of significant power within the government, within politics, within society. And it's a whole bunch of crazy cult shit in this. I highly recommend this film as well. Ready or Not. If you want to marry into a rich family, you gotta play a game called Hide and Seek, in which they hunt you down. And they gotta kill you and sacrifice you by midnight to the devil. Otherwise they will all burn. The Hunt. A bunch of elites just take a bunch of people and throw them in the middle of the woods and say, cool, we're gonna hunt all of you now. We know that hunting parties exist within the elite that are already referenced all throughout the Epstein files. Okay, we know this. Sniper tourism. If you haven't heard of that before, you can Google it. It exists, y'all. Fresh. What happens when, oh, beautiful Daisy Edgar Jones is just looking for a date with the right guy, and she meets Sebastian Stan, handsome, charismatic. He invites her over to his place that's in the middle of the woods. What could go wrong there? And basically, he takes women, seduces them, then kidnaps them, cages them up, and how to put this in a way that's monetizable. He basically curates meat out of them to sell to the elite. Yeah. Another film that's pretty good. Taken! A more fun action version of what we're talking about here, but if you want to look into the darkness of sex trafficking, this is it. Liam Neeson, Ra's al Ghul taking on an Albanian sex trafficking ring, and you get to see elites literally auction off drugged women to be R-worded. It's pretty dark stuff. For a Liam Neeson action movie, they touch on some very mature themes. The Firm, one of my favorite Tom Cruise films ever, one of my favorite Tom Cruise performances ever. Tom Cruise is this up-and-coming lawyer with a lot of potential who's hired by this specific firm that's very, very sus. Suddenly, it's revealed every lawyer who leaves the firm dies mysteriously. And as a result of looking into this, Tom Cruise's character finds himself caught between them and an FBI investigation that lures him into this dark conspiracy about what his firm actually does and who they're representing, and how he can legally maneuver around it, and how lawyers are able to maneuver around crazy crimes in general. I would highly recommend this to anyone who's looking into law conspiracy or anything like that.
Another massive honorable mention that I forgot because I'm an idiot is Blink Twice with Channing Tatum. If Epstein used mind-altering drugs that made his victims forget everything that was happening to them and turned them into zombies and then took them on an island, this movie used that as a blueprint. I would highly recommend this film if you're looking for something Epstein-related.
Alright, now we're getting into my list, right? The top 5. Number 5, JFK. You want government conspiracy? This is it. I don't know how the hell this film was even made. I don't know how anyone allowed this film to be made. The conspiracy stuff that they're bringing up here, and you know what, to be fair, there was a lot of controversy. So much controversy that literally the public outrage as a result of this film caused government to release classified documents related to the assassination. Imagine how pissed the US government was at the fact that this movie's released. Now, we know for a fact that they didn't release everything. There's no way Lee Oswald did that. There's no way everything was what we were told. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist and allege anything happened, because I don't know. Nobody knows. But this movie does bring up some good points as to how the official story we were given about JFK's murder could not have been it. And so Kevin Costner's character has to prove his case, because there's a lot of suspect things about JFK's murder that don't make sense. And this movie goes through every single clue as to what could have happened. How the CIA might have been involved, Lyndon B. Johnson, how it might have been an inside job. Every single detail that a conspiracy theorist could want is in this film. And you know what? The cast is pretty stacked too. Gary Oldman plays Lee Oswald. You got Kevin Bacon in here. You got this. The cast was insane for this film, man. Very, very good watch. Number 4, Society. Now, here's the one where I think you're gonna actually get away with the most, because Society is kind of a ridiculous film. It's like a literal kind of a sci-fi horror, body horror type thing. But it's meant to be allegory for what really happens in the elite societies. Basically, this dude figures out that his family might not be what they say they are. They're acting very, very strange. Their existence is very, very strange. There's a very suggestive, sexualized manner about them. There's certain body parts of theirs that don't make sense at times. Basically, what's happening is the family that he belongs to this secret society of socialites that are not entirely human. And they exist to inbreed with one another so they can keep that pure elitist bloodline running. And then we get to what is their version of an elite ritual, which is the shunting. If you don't know what the shunting is, I can't really show any of it because I'll get demonetized. But it involves, like, I can't even describe it. An orgy of flesh is how I would describe it. It's some of the most sick, depraved, disgusting, and kind of ridiculously funny things you've ever seen in cinema. I would recommend you watch Society with a couple friends while having pizza and some drinks, just to get the full experience of it. Right? The movie functions as a very on-the-nose allegory for what the elites can be. That's all I'm going to say. Number 3, Edge of Darkness. Mel Gibson, I believe Mel Gibson's one of the movies upon his first return to Hollywood, back when he was welcomed back into their open arms after he was removed from there for the stuff that he said. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan of Mel Gibson. I don't agree with everything he says. All right, there's a lot of I do think he definitely has a couple screws that are loose. And I don't condone any of the things he did with his ex-girlfriend and some of the stuff he said on his phone calls. But he called a lot of stuff out about Hollywood that ended up being true. But I love this film because it takes government conspiracy to a whole new level. Basically, his daughter gets brutally killed and shot in front of him, and he needs to figure out what the heck is going on. Who was she working for? This corporation, this very seedy, shady corporation that creates nuclear material for the government. What could they be hiding? And Mel Gibson goes down the rabbit hole to figure out what the heck is going on. Why was my daughter killed? What was she trying to uncover? What's the conspiracy? This is a government and corporate conspiracy aligned, as it should be, because that's how it operates. Governments and corporations are always conspiring against us. Let's just be real about that. My favorite part of this film is one of the assassins that the government actually hires, kind of as like a PI/assassin hitman, to look after Mel Gibson. An anti-hero, as I would call him, Ray Winstone. His character in this, and this dialogue, is some of my favorite in film history. This film is very underrated in my opinion. I was riveted throughout this film. There's a jump scare with a specific person getting killed with a car in this that made me have a heart attack when I first saw it. And it sucks because this movie was coming out when stuff like Avatar and all that was coming out, so I don't think a lot of people paid attention to it at the time, and Mel Gibson didn't have the best rep. But man, oh man, is this a damn good movie. If you want to see a movie where the government's making people disappear, there's corporate corruption all over the place, and an international conspiracy in which the government is conspiring to do things with other countries and involving weapons, and we know the government's capable of this because they literally did it. There's whole scandals about them using drugs to fund rebel groups in other countries. I'm not going to say that, but this movie also talks about nuclear weapons being proliferated and framed as being weapons of other countries when the US is doing something else with them. You know what I'm saying? If you're interested in conspiracies like that, you're going to love this movie. And Mel Gibson's a beast in it. Number 2 is a film that has stuck with me ever since I saw it a couple days ago, but still, it's going to stick with you as well. Sleeping Beauty. I'm telling you guys, this film is one of my favorite Epstein Eyes Wide Shut films. That's not as crazy as those. It gets to the cult imagery and all that. But man, oh man, this is one of those films that makes you want to take a shower after watching it. All right, starring Emily Browning, one of my favorite actresses, by the way. She was, when I first saw her in Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events movie, I was in love with this woman. Okay, she was also in Sucker Punch. She was also in Legend with Tom Hardy. She's great. She plays this girl who basically has multiple jobs. She's a waitress. She's also a student. She's a student who does laboratory experiments and gets paid for that. She's a prostitute as well. And she basically accepts a job for a woman who basically is paid by elites to bring them some game, you know, some women for their, I can't even show this, I'll get demonetized, but some women for their dinners and their parties. But she also gets hired, takes on another job, in which she basically sleeps after taking this drug that puts her to sleep, and various elite rich men can hop into bed with her and fondle her. No penetration involved, but they can touch her up and do very weird things. They can lick her, they can kiss her, they can cuss at her, they can basically exploit her using their wildest, craziest, unhinged, degenerate fantasies. And some of these guys are rich old men who have like lived life and are just, I don't know what. You get a peek into their minds right before they do this stuff. And this girl's just asleep through it all. And she definitely wants to figure out what's actually happening to her during these long hours where she's asleep and they're fondling her. This is one of those films where, one, the actress is amazing. It all is on her shoulders. She's a woman who doesn't care what happens to her. She's very self-destructive and nihilistic, right? It's hard to make a character like that likable. Well, when you watch this film, you're just like, you can't believe what you're witnessing at some point. You're like, oh my god, this is so ugh. You feel icky. And there's not that much graphic content. There's no violence. There's no like crazy sexual things happening here, but it doesn't actually show you a lot. And it doesn't need to show you a lot. That's what's crazy about it. All it does is suggest all the dark things happening, all the things that this woman's allowing to happen to herself because of some effed up issues she has with her past. It's almost like you have peeked into something you shouldn't have seen. That's what it feels like when watching this film. I consider it's almost like a dark Epstein version of Honora. You know that movie, that Honora, that came out about the prostitute chick? It's like kind of like that. It reminds me a lot of that, but without the humor and full-on dark Epstein stuff. I think it's a very underrated film. I don't know why the critics hated this and panned this. I freaking love it. It's erotic, yes, but it's very, very, very interesting. Watch it. Number 1, and this is, I mentioned this in my video about the most disturbing films ever made. Solo, or 120 Days of Sodom. The issue with this is I can't talk about it much or even show anything from it because it'll get me demonetized. Basically, this is one of those films where the director got killed after making it as well. Except this guy actually got brutally murdered. We don't know what happened to Kubrick, right? We think, we have an idea, a theory of what happened. This guy confirmed got freaking assassinated as a result of this. I think this dude was accused of being a PDF file too. So there's some weird stuff here behind this. But this film is about a bunch of Italian fascist libertines who basically take a harem of boys and girls. Can I show this picture? Yes, there's no nudity in it. There's a lot of nudity in this movie. I don't know how this movie was filmed. Legally, by the way. They take a harem of boys and girls into this castle for 120 days and subject them to sadistic torture and sexual violence. And it's like one of the most disturbing things. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I don't feel like this is allowed to be made. No, humanity was never meant to see this. But this happens, and it is proven that this stuff happens with the Epstein files. And it's proven this stuff has been happening. They do the weirdest rituals ever. They'll have 2 kids that they're all these elites are banging. They'll have them marry each other. They'll have them engage in some satanic rituals too. Basically, this film, every level of torture they go through is like Dante's Inferno, with circles of hell. Specifically, the Anti-Inferno, I don't know what that is. Circle of Mania, Circle of Shit, Circle of Blood. Yeah, Circle of Shit is where I just can't with this movie. This film is basically the director saying, by the way, global consumerism is the new fascism. This movie is a statement on authoritarianism and fascism and the worst it can bring on people, but specifically, this director hated global consumerism. He said, that's the new form of fascism where human beings are treated by authorities at the top as commodities, and individuals conforming under this consumer society, we are sheep that are used as cattle by the ones at the top. And you know what? In some ways, I can agree with him. There are scenes where kids are force-fed feces, and that's the director saying, that's the shit that we are being fed by the ones in charge of this consumer society. The slop that we keep paying for. You know what I'm saying? In a very weird way, that's what the director's saying. It's crazy how the director used this stuff as an allegory for that. Global consumerism. What the hell, man? This guy was insane. I really wonder what that director would think of society now if he was alive. I think he would be making like 500 days of hell. Every scene's an R wording. That's what he would do if he was alive today. He would just be so angry, he'd just be taking it out on his actors, you know what I'm saying? But those are the 5 Epstein-esque movies. They just get worse and worse the more you go. Some of them are fun, some of them are just like, oh god. And then this one's just like, alright, I ain't watching this stuff anymore. But yeah. Let me know what you think of those, and if you have any other Epstein films that you have in mind. There's probably tons that I've missed, but still. Those are the ones I could think of off the top of my head to recommend. Bye. We are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.